Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown between the mighty Poison Ducky up against the ferocious Biblington as the Vampire Coast meet the High Elf forces on the Ash Plains. Now this is a really interesting matchup throughout. Mortars are very good up against High Elves, but High Elf Archers are very good up against pretty much the entirety of the Vampire Coast build. So it makes this pretty interesting dynamic of do you bring these units are powerful, but that can be countered and are expected. We'll have to see what both the players have done. And it looks like Mr. Krabs is indeed playing Total War Warhammer because there is a crab-themed build coming in by Poison Ducky. So for the main battle line, it is a mixture of zombie pirate deckhand mubs and rotten Prometheans dotted through the front line. Rotten Prometheans don't have the biggest damage output, but are very tanky and over time will claw their way through the enemy forces. And apart from archers, High Elves can really struggle to take down large tanky creatures. You have Phoenix Guard, but they can be avoided. They are just foot troops. We have double zombie pirate gunnery mob bombers as well to help dish out damage to the enemy, and more rotten Prometheans protecting the back line, with just a bucket ton of cheap and cheerful halberds making up the rest of the build. We do have Quad Mortar, which seems to be a fan favourite at the moment of Poison Ducky. If you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, we did another battle report with him up against Beastmen, bringing the same artillery faction. And we have Count Noctis on foot, and he has some really cool armour that you don't get to normally see when he's on top of his big monsters. He has Captain Wrath's Moondial with him, as well as a Wraithstorm, spell-wise, the Humble Invocation Heck, and Drowned Dead. Definitely the two most competitive spells off that lore, but still very powerful. For the forces of the High Elves, we have a couple of Valyrian Reavers lurking in the trees waiting to ambush the opponent, and double Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower looking to bring the pain and drag the Vampire Pirates all the way across the battlefield and into combat rather than having to go to them. As expected, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 4 basic archers, and for number 5 and 6, we have 2 Lothran Seaguards, so 6 both units. Very good here. Lothran Seaguard guarding the flanks because they're a little bit better in combat. Rangers shall make up the main battle line, which I'm assuming will kind of push forward ahead of all the gunnery line, or you'd at least hope so. And in the backs, we have the line chariots here to bog down the enemy and do some good cycle charging. Looks like we have a mage down the ground, a mage of metal, kind of Plague of Rust, going to be very useful to help deal with those crabs. And up in the skies, we have Alariel the Radiant, so it's going to be a double mage build, getting more and more popular. She's going to be coming in with Star of Avalon, Tempest, and Earthblood. I really love the Tempest pick in case you have to deal with Luther, but also those nasty gunnery fell bats up in the skies can be a big pain. Bolt throws are aiming at those rotten Prometheans for now. They've not lost any models yet though, and they're going to be getting held up by an Invocation of the Heck, so any damage they take isn't going to be too problematic, and in fact, they're going to go all the way back up to full health at the moment. Mortars are being wheeled forward, looking to bring the pain on the enemy. Actually, have they just abandoned their mortars? What is this? Where are the actual mortars? Are they invisible? Oh my god, they're hiding in the troops. Okay, I was super confused there. I thought he took his mortar crews off and just started running forward with them. Rotten Promethean's taken a little bit of poke now, but still up to 9 models. Could be using this forest for a bit of cover, but there's also some rocks as well, so the terrain certainly can be useful. Looks like the Eagle Bolt Throwers are switching to more of a spread shot, which will enable them to hit the Prometheans slightly more, but at the same time you can do a lot less damage when you do connect. And in fact, he's switched to switch shot, or the spread shot I should say, so he can hunt down the bombers, which is a really clever idea I think throughout. Need to get those guys off the field, and Poison Ducky's micro seems to be on point today with those dukes and dodges. Valyrian Reavers are going to rather wisely decide to fall back here I think. There's no point charging into these crabs, they're simply going to overwhelm you. You need to use them defensively to protect that back line. Count Noctis is duking as well. He looks like he's going to go round this right-hand flank to try to use the train as a bit of cover and also support both these rotten Prometheans up against the line chariots and the rest of the High Elf build. Mortars are now almost in position to rain down on fire, and it seems that 4 of the polearms are going to be hanging back to protect them. They need to as well with those Valyrian Reavers sniffing around the side there. Rotten Prometheans are getting real aggressive. Plague of Rust has gone down, minus 60 armor, still leaves them with 60, which certainly isn't too shabby. And they're going to be getting held up here by an Invocation from the Heck. And the Crabs are going to do beautiful work in the front line. Nothing really designed to take them down, apart from the range. And the Mortars are now going to be dealing with that. Raining fire from the skies down. Focusing on the archers is certainly a good idea. These guys are rather squishy and tightly compact. Perfect for Mortars to deal with them. Frontline is an absolute flustercluck of madness. Rotten Prometheans jump on top of the Rangers. Going to be snipping at them dragging them down and doing some good work for sure. It seems like we're even going to be getting Earthblood down on the Rangers to try and keep them alive and active as the archers start to rain in fire, but you can see they're starting to get a little bit beat up now by that consistent mortar pressure. The Reavers deciding to hop on top of the bombers, who no longer have protection because those Prometheans got so aggressive, and you can see them getting shut down, which is very bad news for the Vampirates here. But at the same time, a lot of things are going rather well. Zombie Project and Mob Summon has gone down the back line. That's basically guaranteeing this Eagle Bolt Thrower is going to be dealt with. And the archers slowly taking more damage as the Prometheans push through the front line and really try to hop on and take away the damage output of the enemy. Plague of Rust once again goes down on the Royal Prometheans, allowing Biblington's forces to just whittle them down. It looks like this unit is going to be dealt with. 7 models left, though, and they are eventually going to get into the back line, but the Rangers did a good job stalling them, holding back the enemy, and those little Krabs, though they may feast a little bit, will be, unfortunately for them, disintegrating into nothing but dust. Good news of this absolute madness being in the front line. The Vampires may not be able to win this engagement here, but it is holding back the entirety of the High Elf force. And you can see all 4 mortars just completely untouched, have now free range to fire in. The archers starting to run for their lives. 2 units already running away, as well as 1 Eagle Bolt Thrower taken out of the game. The second one is getting overrun here. Liam Reavers as well as Rangers getting a Star of Avalon. Not the most cost-effective way, but these units are pretty key here. So healing them up, helping to deal with this deckhand mob. Some of the last Krabs are going down here in the back line, but not before they've chased off some archers. Mortar fire once again pouring in. We still have some Krabs in deep reserve. Just 1 unit here, and I think that may be it for the Krabs. No, we still got 1 unit as well fighting in the depths here. Count is full health, and he can certainly solo armies on his own. Lion Chariots going to be trying to dart into the back line, which is a really good idea. Yes, there are polearms here who are pretty good at taking down chariots, but these chariots are not your average boys. They have 80 armor, give them a bit more durability than your average chariot, plus a solid 40 melee defense. Yes, they're taking damage, but look at the amount of damage they are giving back. These polearms really starting to suffer. The others, though, holding firm, determined to protect those mortars for as long as possible. Healthy Prometheans are going to be charged onto the Rangers, finishing off kind of the remainder of the infantry corps of the High Elves, at least the combat variety, leaving just a lot of archers in the back lines, who those mortars aren't the most accurate, but when they hit, they're certainly doing some pretty decent damage. Elian Reavers darting back managed just about to save one of the Eagle Bolt Throwers. The other one is shattered for good, however, but with a Mage of Metal, Plague of Rust coming in, and a lot of the archers left alive, I think the balance of power is reflecting truly at the moment, with the High Elves in a slight state of advantage, but those poor Lion Chariots actually got a bit of work done on them. Rather even trade there. They are getting an Earthblood to heal them up. Still 3 models, which I'm sure the High Elf player is going to be very happy about. Down here in the main battle, Royal Prometheans once again hit by an Overcast Plague of Rust. Counterplay though, coming by Poison Ducky to try to stop the most amount of damage with that Invocation of Heck. They're still going to take a considerable amount, however. Count shall be calling down some fury from the skies of his Wraith Storm, hitting Eagle Bolt Thrower and taking it offline. That is definitely going to be a shattered unit with only 25 health left. Prometheans getting stuck into those Rangers, but there's so many archers just pouring in fire. Count Noculus trying his best here, and it's still basically full health, and all the Rangers are now dealt with, so it's going to come down to can he protect his mortars, whilst Count Noculus annoys the rest of the opponent. Good cycle charging coming in now by the Reavers, the Lion Chariots, as well as Alariel to take out one of the mortars which has been dealt with. Both the polearms pulled wide to try and save it, and that has allowed some Rangers to hop on the second mortar. 2 out of the 4 mortars have now been dealt with. More fire is coming in to try and help Count Noculus, who's just absorbing a ridiculous amount of arrows. He's like Boromir right now, trying to save the hobbits, if the undead mortars were hobbits, if your imagination will allow that to go that far. Plague of Rust does go down on Count Noculus, lowering his armor to 65, so those arrows should hopefully do a bit more damage, but he is in the woods, surrounded by enemies, and they will be offering a little bit of protection from that horrendous torrent of bowfire. In the back line, Lion Chariots once again eyeing up some more of the mortars with the Reavers, and they want to crash down all on the same unit to try and take it offline as quickly as possible, and yeah, those mortars certainly getting the business done to them. Some of the Rangers shall be getting finished off here in the back lines by the deckhand mob with polearms, but it is awfully messy here, and a Star of Avalon goes down as the High Elves commit to this fight, realizing we have to destroy these mortars. Lion Chariots doing a pretty decent job on this one, though they are now surrounded. The other mortar is starting to get taken offline as the balance power goes very heavily in the High Elf favour. Count Noctilus continues to swirl his blade in arcs of bloody death and gore, covered in blood of both friend and foe. Lothran Seaguard with their spears, though, should be able to surround him and hopefully poke him down. A lot of the archers are out of ammo, and balance power has actually come back a tiny bit closer towards the middle, as a lot of these units in the back line, the Reavers, take pretty huge damage, despite the Star of Avalon keeping them, trying to keep them healthy. Both units nearly breaking. Lion Chariots still have 3 models, though, and I really do think Lion Chariots are probably the best heavy chariot in the game. So we still have 1 mortar left online. It's currently not on its artillery piece, though, so it needs to hop on these and once again be surrounded by polearms. Though there are Lothran Seaguard now coming up, and they're going to be amazing at dealing with the zombie mobs, who only have 15 armor, though ammunition is starting to run a little bit on the low side. A nice summon of zombie pirate deckhand mobs has been popped down to chase off some of the archers. Problem with this is Elves are pretty fleet-footed, so they're going to be able to ignore the deckhand mobs for the most part. Count Noctilus is still pretty much full health, though, just tanking out all the enemy in the forest. And it seems like the High Elf player is doing the exact correct movement you do in the situation. You destroy the rest of the build. You leave Noctilus. Yeah, he's super tanky, but he can only deal a certain amount of damage. And if you destroy everything else, you can hopefully break him. Or not break him because he's undead, but start to make him crumble, and that's really huge. And the bounce power, though, is getting once again back towards the middle a little bit more. Polearm's doing a decent job here on Alarielle, slowly chipping at her health. And a lot of the cavalry is very beat up at this moment, and there's nearly no ammunition left on the archers, just a few volleys left here and there. These units have some okay amounts. A lovely summon, though, of the gunnery mob's going to be coming in, and they can now start to pour fire in to the rear of the archers who have the ammo. Really lovely play by Poison Ducky, which could be quite clutch because Count Noctilus has dealt with the Lothran Seaguard on this flank, and now can come over here to assist, trying to drag down these archers who are currently being used to counter the polearms pretty effectively. And these guys have a long way to waddle, who are pretty slow as well, to get into the main fight. Count Noctilus does stand alone. He will be able to deal well with Alarielle if it does come down to a boss fight at the end, due to his anti-large halberd, but Cycle Charge and Lion Chariot and all this bow fire is making this game still pretty favoured, I think, to the High Elf forces. Lothran Seaguard trying their best on this zombie gunnery mob to shut it down, and all round they're doing some pretty good work to it, but again it's a summon, so it's kind of getting free value with those 10 kills. Every kill lost, or every life lost for the High Elves is far more important at the moment than for the undead, as Count Noctilus looks to try to carry in the endgame. Alarielle swoops in, doing some massive damage to the Noctilus Meister himself, but he's lifting up that halberd and coming with some sweeping attacks, hitting back just as hard as he gets hit. Now a lot of the High Elf force is starting to break. A lovely summon of the gunnery mobs in the back burner, rear shooting those Lion Chariots, destroying one of the models. The Illyrian Reavers have run for their life, and Alarielle has to get out of there and flee immediately. Beautiful, desperate play by the High Elves, taking their archers, moving them into combat, but Poison Ducky having none of that, pinning his gunnery mobs into guard mode so they continue to shoot, annihilating the Lion Chariots down to just 1 model, only 255 health, and now Count Noctilus does fight the Pigeon Queen herself in glorious hand-to-hand combat, though there is some pistol shots coming in as well. She is starting to take an absolute beating. Lothran Seaguard and the Wizard leads a desperate counter-punch onto Count Noctilus. He's getting rather low on health and near his healing cap. Alarielle, though, down to 1,300 health. All of the archers are out of ammo, just swarm the gunnery mob. Such a scrappy last fight. Unfortunately for Poison Ducky, his zombie pirate deckhand mobs are so far away. If they were here right now, engaging all the archers would be done for and break, and Count Noctilus may be able to carry, but it's looking a little bit ropey still. Balance power has come back, even in fact into the favour of the vampirates, with another gunnery mob going down, looking to rear shoot the Lothran Seaguard and get them off the field. Count Noctilus, danger low though, 1,400 health at the moment, is dueling that Mage of Metal. All the gunnery mobs aiming at Alarielle, trying to bring her down. She's on 880 health. If she breaks, the backbone and heart of the High Elf people may break with her, but she's doing the right thing. Focusing down those gunnery mobs, looking to finish them off. Do we have any High Elves returning? We do. We have the Lion Chariot, but it's so beat up, if it gets shot once or hit once, it's probably going to break for good. Alarielle desperately low, 680 health. Zombie gunnery mobs trying to fight, but they don't want to be in combat, of course. They'd rather be shooting. The polearms have arrived, the slow, ponderous undead cavalry. has shut down all of the archers, and 3 units of archers do break. Balance power very heavily now in the Vampire Pirate favour as Count Noctilus duels the Lothran Seaguard, trying to finish them off as some of the more weak polearms are being used to chase away the enemy and distract the Lothran Seaguard here. Major Metal's nearly broken. Where is the Pigeon? She's up in the skies. 535 health is all she has, as this last gunnery mob doing fantastic work now, fighting to the rear of the Lothran Seaguard. Bye-bye, Mage of Metal. She's running for her life, though she may be getting rallied here, as a lot of the archers have come back. Lion Chariot shatters, though, and Alara the Radiant can come back for vengeance once more. Lothran Seaguard getting abused at this point and probably broken. 0 leadership, 4 leadership. They're just about stabilizing. Alaria was so low on health, but I think she needs to cycle charge Noctilus and accept the risk, although maybe waiting for the gunnery mob to dissipate first will be the best play. However, the Lothran Seaguard are gone. They're running for their lives. They may be able to get rally and come back, but archers have really bad melee stats, so the polearms should be able to do a good job on them, and they're not really going to be able to hurt Count Noctilus too much. Luckily, though, for the forces here of the High Elves, the gunnery mobs are dealt with. Balance power swooping close to army losses. Plague of Rust goes down, and Count Noctilus and Alariel swoops down for the kill in a last battle, a last attempt. Count Noctilus only 800 health. Alaria the Radiant 500. Plague of Rust hopefully going to allow her to pierce that thick armor, but he slaughters her with a spinning slice of his halberd and an uppercut. A Pyrrhic victory for the forces of Poison Ducky. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. Look at that poor little dead pigeon. That was wild. Massive, massive thank you for Poison Ducky for sending this one in, because this game was ridiculous. I thought he stood no chance partway through there. Once the Krabs got dealt with, there were so many Lothran Seaguards, so many archers left, and I thought Biblington handled the game really well in the early stages. Focus fire down the Krabs. Like Plague Rust 1, focus fire down, kill it, move on to the next one, and he was systematically picking apart the Vampire Coast build. But Count Noctilus, what a world beater! 123 kills, 2.9k damage dealt, insane stuff. Very well played to Poison Ducky and Biblington, who is a super lovely person and actually was the winner of our 5k prize giveaway. Hopefully he will be receiving soon in the post, fingers crossed, it has been sent now, a Gandalf themed rubber duck, which is pretty hilarious stuff. I'll make sure to do another giveaway as well when we hit subscribers in the future. And speaking of that, before we get to damage dealt and damage value, which we will do for all the units, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. It's absolutely free, gives you a little heads up when I drop videos, and really helps support the channel. Likewise, feel free to comment down below what was your favourite moment, who was your MVP, and what did you think of this absolute stormer. This was a really, really cool and fun battle. Not particularly meta either, just really awesome units on both sides. Feel free to like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe for more good content. There are links down below in the description to my Discord if you would like to send me replays. I'm getting a few emails and stuff recently, people asking, how do I submit replays to you? That's how you do it, or via Discord. You can also hone your skills there, get involved in the tournaments and other events I host, and keep up to date with the channel. There's also links to my Nexus account if you'd like to order any games through there, as well as my Patreon if you want to support the channel. But anyway, on to the stuff you're really here for, and that is the mighty Count Noctilus. Yeah, 2.9k damage value, and just how tanky he is. Really held the Vampire Coast together. I'm so impressed with Poison Ducky's late game management. Those are pistol summons with the upgrade. So if you upgrade the summon of the zombie pirate deckhand mobs, they become the gunner ones. Just shooting into the rear of the enemy and breaking off the High Elf forces was absolute masterclass. And Poison Ducky is becoming a very good Vampire Coast player to add to his vampire counts. He's going to be pretty damn scary in tournaments to come, I think. Yeah, the Undead across the board obviously didn't get much damage value. The polearms 560, not too shabby. 400, 1000 damage value, 800. These were the ones probably surrounding those lion chariots at the key moments and forcing off archers. The bombers were sacrificed. They didn't synergize super well with the build. I do like them though, because they are very good if you get them into the right position, but he simply couldn't defend them up against the Illyrian Reavers, because the rest of the halberds were back obviously protecting the mortars, which still is the better tactical decision by Poison Ducky, because those mortars were certainly needed. Only 200 damage value though, 400, 300, 400, my god, they did so bad, and they were fine the majority of the game, but they did big damage to the archers, and that's what he needed. He wanted to whittle them down as much as possible. As for the Rotting Prometheans, 225, 500, 450, 780. That is not a lot of damage value. It really did come down to those gun summons, who then managed to really bring the pain to key targets in the later stages. As for Biblinton, Alario the Radiant, 1,500 damage value, not too shabby whatsoever. Poor Major Metal, of course, only 140, but really here for those debuffs. Rangers across the board did a solid job clearing out the chaff, but really did get pounded down by those Krabs. And the Archers, 700 damage value, 1,780, 500, not too shabby whatsoever. And Lalofran Seaguard really performed well. 1,600 and 1,400 damage value is certainly paying for themselves. Alien Reavers, 680 and 527. Shutting down the Bombers was really nice, because it helps the Rangers hold the line that little bit longer. And of course, Bombers combined with Krabs can be pretty scary, because the Krabs won't take that much friendly fire. So they did a good job, despite not getting the most insane damage value ever. Line Chariot was really needed to puncture the defences of those polearms and hop on top of those mortars, because if it was just Alien Reavers, he probably wouldn't have shut them down. 1,300 damage value. Unfortunately, the Bolt Throwers really got kind of screwed over a little bit by those well-placed summons. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. That was a really fun game to cast. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.